Nixon was president, I said to Johnny Cash, he had various things. Duke Ellington, who's a jazz musician, had his 70th birthday party at the White House and was hosted in the East Room. When Tricia Nixon, the president's daughter, the older of the two girls, got married, she had her reception here in the East Room. And interestingly enough, we do weddings here. Sometimes in life you have coincidences. Having the land come together, having the school close when it did, is part of the reason why we're here today. Another coincidence, in a sense, was that when it was decided to have the library here, and they were restoring the house, because they had to deal with the house was listing, so they had to put a new foundation on. One of the president's brothers who lived in the area, named Don Nixon, he died. It was 1985, and his wife, all along after the mother died, Anna Nixon, the president's mother, all of her belongings were kept in storage, and Don was the one who had them placed in storage, and so his widow donated all of the furnishings to us. All right. Now, on top of that, Richard Nixon was still alive, and so he helped us set it up so that it looked exactly like it was when he lived here. Almost everything in there is original, and I'm only going to tell you what's not, okay? Because there's only a few items. But he's an interesting guy, right? The motor man I was talking about. He also, and farmer, he also was a self-taught mason, and he made that fireplace after the winter of '13, which was a particularly cold and rainy winter. And the cold and rainy part is actually why Richard Nixon was born in this house, because his mother went into labor on January 9th. 1913. The house is just finished with all that, all original. Every single thing is original. So he was born in that room. You even see signatures on that. Go ahead, don't be shy. Just step up there. You also see signatures on the quilt of the people that knitted it over the wedding present, called a friendship quilt. Self-taught, but he believed that it was important for children. It's an important thing for parents to teach children about the world that they were living in. And so he would take the news of the day, and we didn't have radio even at that time, it was just newspapers and things. And he would talk about this stuff with his boys after dinner, and he would actually debate issues of the day. He would have them take sides. And this is during the teens, this is like 100 years ago, when World War I was going on, etc., and Americans' participation, and that was still up in the air, and they would debate it. So Richard loved this, took to it, and turned around, and he became a debating champion in both high school and college. He also then went on to become a lawyer, and he just wanted us to tell you that it all started at that table. Now, the remarkable thing to me personally, having adapted from the White House cookbook, this is one of her cookbooks. It's kind of, I just find this part of the story amazing, because if you picture it, you have a little boy, he's reading National Geographic, I'll talk more about it, dreaming of traveling the world. I've already told you that. His mother's in here, in this little house, in a town of 200 people, which is what Yorba Linda was at the time, 200 people, all right? And 6 of them lived in this little house, right? And
you're not original.
the boys had a room up there, okay, in the attic. They slept 2 of bed, there were 2 twin beds up there, and that's where they slept, all 4 of them. 2 of them. There's a tub, I didn't get to show it to you. In that room there's a big metal tub like you see on farms. That was the only bathtub they ever had. And they used to get water out of it behind us. They water. The Navy builds it, you can go in the water. And the Marines use this helicopter for a long time as well. It's part of the reason they chose this one. When they were picking a presidential helicopter. See, the presidential helicopter service started with Eisenhower, and it was informal. He was used to flying around in helicopters. He had property in Gettysburg. He had property in he had the presidential retreat in Camp David. And what they used to do to get him there was take these long motorcades, which are very disruptive, etc. And so he got tired of that, and so he called up his army buddies and said, can you get me a copter over here so I can just get out to where I need to go? And they started doing it. It dawned on them at that point in time, this is a good idea. So they created a commission and eventually created a formal presidential helicopter service, and the Marines stepped up to lead it. But of course, we're talking Eisenhower here, who's a lifelong Army guy, and he said, not so fast, we're going to do it jointly. So the Marines and the Army jointly, while Ike was alive, ran it, and then it just went over to the Marines after that. They chose this model, the Sea King. Interestingly enough, about 10 months older than he was. So they both lived virtually the same amount of time on this earth. Funerals for both of them are held here, and they're buried here on this plot of land. So I'm just going to let you guys pay respect. I'll meet you. And that was a dinner that we spoke at the dinner. And that was the wedding. Some people said that California large and boom, but I also think some Navy man in both sides of the line as well. You see the drone spot, which typically presidents don't do that grouping like that, but the current president has them scattered around. You gotta send a picture. You also need to say. It is a trick to sit there. You get a sudden rush. And over here, we actually have everyone and we have some of the perfectly good supposed to have. Well, see, and then this area includes the city right there. Him and his guys, the Memphis Mafia, right? They come and knock on the door of the White House, and they let him in. They recognize him, they let him in. They go get Nixon. They talk for a while. Over here, on the way to the White House, from Memphis, he flew American Airlines, asked for a pad of papers, Presley, and this is his handwriting. This is actually, he's made notes about what he was going to say when he was going to meet Nixon. What he basically does is he offers himself as a means to reach young people. He knew that Nixon was having trouble with the campus demonstrators, etc. And he said, maybe I can help you out. To be honest with you, he didn't do much to help him out. The other interesting, but that was his intent. All right, because actually the people who were demonstrating really weren't the Elvis people, right? Elvis was sort of another half generation before. The other thing, though, that's interesting. Yeah.
Got silver bullets? Does that mean he was like Abe Lincoln, vampire slayer? Remember that?
In there. But he then, after the China trip, goes to Moscow and he meets with Brezhnev. And he signs this agreement, which was the first strategic arms limitation agreement that we pound, assault 1. Rather successful, let's see, he's medal, because President Kennedy is a young guy, takes office, and the Russians who were in the Soviet Union was having difficulty they were getting mass exodus from their area of the divided Berlin, and so Mr. Nixon down upstairs and shakes the hand of Joe Mons. In the 50s, our Secretary of State, John Foster, he had refused to shake the hands of Joe Mons. Yeah, that was very.
The plan was the Chinese were going to let us sort of rest up for the next few hours that evening. The Chinese totally surprised us. Joe and I came back to the guest house after about an hour and said that Chairman Mao wanted to meet the president.
Says, Tony, would you like some? And she said, no, I have my own. He said, no, I don't mean cigarettes, I mean candles. And that's how we got the candles. Let's go. When he wanted to think, and he would go there late at night, he'd take these yellow pads and he'd make notes, and he would formulate his thinking. And in this display, you can see what he's thinking about out the window there.
Not only the greatest
There's John McCain, and you can see what he's writing. If you stay in this room for a while, it's pretty neat because he's an opera, Nixon in China.
Living every day of his life to the hill, the largest figure of our times, whose influence will be timeless. That was Richard Nixon.
So let us now say goodbye
Look familiar?
to our gallant friend.
I believe in the American
He stood on pinnacle
I have seen it come true.
that dissolved in the precipice. He achieved
It's a
greatly
long way from your millennium.
and he suffered deeply.
I have
He
made that
never gave
statement.
up.
And I
He
want to see
envisaged a
country
new international order
every young American
that would give new
have the
hope to
opportunity to make
mankind.
that journey
He was devoted to his family.
come true.
He loved his country, and he considered service his honor.
Sometimes
A few months ago, he was asked in a television interview, how would you like to be remembered? He thought a moment and then he replied, I'd like to be remembered as one who made a difference. He said many times that unless a person has a goal, a new mountain to climb, his spirit will die. Well, based on our last phone conversation and the letter he wrote me just a month ago, I can say that his spirit was very much alive to the very end.
And sometimes you will be very discouraged. It is sad to lose, but the greatest sadness is to travel through life without knowing either victory or defeat.
At some of the low points in the past, I had been sustained by recalling a note handed to me right after Watergate first broke. And it read, I am hurt, but I am not slain. I shall lay me down and bleed about, and I shall rise, fight again. That's the story of my life.
Very welcome. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm very glad. Small token.
Oh,
That's
so
our
much.
squadron mates.
Oh, great.
We're an aviation
Oh, I love
logistics
it.
squadron, so
Oh, I treasure that. That is great. Thank you much.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you again, sir. It was a pleasure.
Very welcome.